Close your eyes for a moment. Picture your life exactly as it is today. Now imagine for a second that your thoughts are seeds, every single one of them. Some of these seeds are small, seemingly harmless. Some are wild, invasive, even destructive, and some have the power to grow into forests that can shelter you, feed you, even transform the entire landscape of your existence. What if I told you that the forest of your life, the happiness, success, love, and peace you long for, already exists in the soil of your mind? That every triumph, every setback, every joy, and every fear is rooted in what you think, what you imagine, and what you allow yourself to believe. You are not what the world tells you that you are. You are not the sum of your circumstances. You are the sum of your thoughts. And right now, in this moment, you are standing at the edge of a profound transformation, a journey that begins in your mind and extends into every corner of your life. This is more than a self-help lesson. This is a map to becoming the person you've always wanted to be, a guide to understanding the silent power that shapes your destiny, your thoughts. By the end of this audiobook, you will no longer see your mind as something passive, fleeting, or uncontrollable. You will see it as the most powerful tool you possess, the key to shaping your life, moment by moment, thought by thought. Are you ready? Then let's begin. Chapter 1. The Mirror of the Mind. Have you ever looked into a mirror and wondered who you really are? Not the face you see reflected back, not the expression you wear like a mask, but the person who thinks, feels, and dreams behind those eyes. The truth is, every thought you hold is shaping that reflection, carving it, molding it, whispering quietly but insistently to the person you become. Your mind is not just a tool, it is the mirror of your entire life. And if you don't like what you see, it is not the world you must change, it is the mirror itself. I want you to pause for a moment and imagine this. Your mind as a vast, still lake. Every thought you have is a pebble dropped into its waters. Some ripples are small, fading quickly into nothing. Others are large, powerful, and enduring, stretching across the surface and altering the reflection entirely. What does your lake look like right now? Calm and clear, or choppy and clouded with doubt and fear? Every ripple matters, every pebble matters, every thought matters. The first secret of transformation is simple, yet often overlooked. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. What you experience, who you attract, the opportunities that appear or disappear, are not accidents. They are echoes of your thinking, shaped and amplified over time. This is not mystical philosophy. This is reality, and it is waiting for you to take conscious control. Think about the moments in your life when things went unexpectedly well. Maybe it was a chance encounter that led to a friendship, a promotion, or a breakthrough you didn't even know was coming. Now think about the times when life felt unfair, when obstacles piled up, when doors slammed in your face. What if I told you that both the fortunate and the challenging experiences were not random, but reflections of what you held in your mind at the time? That your thoughts acted like magnets, drawing in circumstances that matched their frequency. Your mind is a fertile ground. Whatever seeds you plant, whether doubt, fear, hope, or ambition, will grow, and the growth is unstoppable. But here's the most important part. You can choose which seeds to plant. You can cultivate your thoughts, just as a gardener tends to a field. You can uproot the weeds of self-doubt, pull out the toxic vines of resentment, and plant seeds that bear fruit in abundance, joy, and clarity. I want to tell you a story. There was a woman named Maya. She grew up hearing that success was impossible for someone like her, that she would never amount to much. For years, she carried these thoughts like stones in her pocket, heavy and limiting. Her life mirrored them. She struggled, doubted herself, and resigned to a quiet, ordinary existence. One day, she realized something remarkable. The only thing standing in her way was the story she was telling herself. She began to change her inner dialogue, thought by thought. She visualized success, nurtured hope, and practiced gratitude daily. Over time, the reflection in her life began to shift. Opportunity appeared. Confidence blossomed. Her life transformed, not because the world changed overnight, but because she changed the mirror through which she viewed it. This is the power that lies dormant in you right now. It is not dependent on circumstance, not dictated by upbringing, and not limited by what anyone else believes is possible. Your mind is your most loyal companion and your most formidable ally. But it is also your most honest mirror. It reflects exactly what you feed it, and it does so with unwavering accuracy. Many people make the mistake of blaming the world for their misfortune. They point to bad luck, unfair circumstances, or other people's decisions. And while the world can present challenges, the deeper truth is this: the quality of your life begins with the quality of your thoughts. Every fear you harbor, every doubt you entertain, every moment of self-criticism casts a shadow onto the reflection you see. And conversely, every empowering belief, every act of self-love, every vision of possibility shines light onto that same reflection. Understanding this is the foundation for real transformation. It is the first step in a journey that requires courage, awareness, and dedication. Transformation does not start with changing your circumstances. It starts with changing your mind. Before you can grow a life you love, you must first cultivate a mind that nurtures it, and this is where most journeys falter. People want change, they want happiness, success, and fulfillment, but they attempt it externally, through habits, goals, or possessions alone. They forget that without the mind's alignment, these external efforts are like pouring water into a cracked vessel. The foundation is inside you, in the way you think, the way you perceive, and the way you respond to the world. So what does this chapter ask of you? It asks for awareness. It asks you to observe your thoughts without judgment, to notice the patterns that dominate your mental landscape. Which thoughts repeat most often? Which voices do you listen to, the supportive ones or the critical ones? Which stories are you telling yourself about who you are and what is possible in your life? This is not an exercise in guilt or self-criticism. It is an awakening to the realization that the power to shape your life has always been within you, that each thought is a brushstroke painting the canvas of your reality, that the reflection you see in the mirror tomorrow depends on what you choose to think, feel, and believe today. By the end of this chapter, you should feel a sense of possibility. You should feel the weight of your own power, but also the excitement of its potential. You are not a passive observer in your life. You are the artist, the gardener, and the architect of your reality. And the first step is noticing your mind, watching it, understanding it, and beginning to consciously direct it toward the life you truly want. As you move forward, remember this: the mirror of the mind is always honest. It reflects every seed, every ripple, every intention. And the clearer you become in your thoughts, the clearer your reflection becomes. The next chapter will take you deeper into this process, revealing how the inner voice, the dialogue you have with yourself, can be harnessed to create the life you have only dared to imagine. So hold on to this awareness, treasure it, let it stir something within you, because what you think is not just who you are, it is who you are becoming. And now the journey truly begins. Chapter 2. The Voice Within. Close your eyes for a moment and listen, not to the world around you, but to the voice within. That subtle murmur that comments on every decision you make, that whispers judgment when you falter, that cheers silently when you succeed. It is always there. Constant, persistent. Sometimes soothing, sometimes harsh. Always shaping the course of your life. This is your inner dialogue, the silent conversation that defines who you are and who you are becoming. Most people underestimate the power of this voice. They think it is harmless, just background noise. But the truth is, it is far from innocent. Every word you say to yourself carries weight. Every thought you repeat builds invisible scaffolding in your mind. Over time, those words construct the life you experience, whether you are aware of it or not. Every victory, every struggle, every feeling of fear or possibility traced back to this voice, this unseen architect of reality. Imagine a small child standing in front of a mirror, repeating the words, "I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I'll never be like them." Over time, those words become more than mere sounds. They become the framework for self-belief, shaping perception and limiting potential. Conversely, imagine the same child hearing, "I can learn, I am capable, I am growing every day." These words carve resilience, courage, and possibility into the foundation of their being. This is the extraordinary, unstoppable power of the inner voice. Now let me ask you something. Which voice have you been listening to most? The one that criticizes, doubts and fears, or the one that encourages, believes and inspires? The answer will reveal the unseen pattern guiding your life. Your inner dialogue is both the compass and the architect of your reality. It silently directs your actions, colors your perceptions, and ultimately determines the trajectory of your destiny. Here's the beautiful part. Your inner voice is not fixed. It can be trained, nurtured, and transformed. Just as a gardener tends to a delicate plant, shaping its growth with light, water, and care, you can shape the dialogue in your mind. It requires awareness, intention, and consistency, but it is entirely possible, and when done consciously, it becomes the most potent tool for transformation you will ever hold. Consider the story of a man named Elias. Every morning, he woke with a barrage of negative self-talk. He told himself he would never be successful, that opportunities were for other people, not him. His days reflected those thoughts: hesitant actions, missed chances, a persistent feeling of inadequacy. One day, he made a deliberate choice. He began to speak to himself differently. Each morning, he told himself, "I am capable, I am learning, I can handle whatever comes." At first, the words felt foreign, awkward, almost unbelievable, but day by day, repetition molded belief. Confidence rose, doors opened. The world didn't change overnight, but Elias's perception did, and with it his reality followed. Your inner dialogue works exactly the same way. It cannot lie. It cannot be fooled by ignoring it or hoping it will disappear. Every thought you nurture gains momentum, becomes stronger, and shapes the life you experience. This is why mastery over your inner voice is essential. This is why your mind must become your ally, not your critic. And yet, mastery begins with awareness. The first step is listening. Pay attention to the words you repeat to yourself in moments of fear, excitement, doubt, or hope. What stories do you tell yourself about your abilities, your worth, and your future? Are these stories empowering or limiting? Honest reflection will reveal patterns that have quietly governed your life for years. And once you see them, you have the power to change them. Changing your inner dialogue is not about denying reality or pretending everything is perfect. It is about consciously choosing which thoughts to amplify and which to let go. It is about replacing judgment with curiosity, fear with possibility, and doubt with faith in your own potential. Every time you correct a negative thought, you are laying the bricks for a new life. Every time you nurture an encouraging thought, you are watering a seed that will grow into an unshakable tree of confidence and resilience. Let's pause and consider a simple exercise. Start by noticing one negative thought that recurs frequently. Observe it without judgment. Then deliberately replace it with an empowering alternative. If your mind says, "I can't handle this," Replace it with "I can learn how to handle this. I am capable of growth." Repeat it, feel it, and let it sink in. Over time, this deliberate practice transforms the inner landscape of your mind. It shifts your perception, reshapes your responses, and ultimately changes the world you experience. The key is consistency. The inner voice is like a muscle. It strengthens with deliberate exercise. Every conscious thought, every corrected narrative, every affirmation of possibility builds your mental strength. And as your inner dialogue evolves, so too does your sense of self. You begin to believe in what you are capable of. You begin to act from a place of confidence rather than fear, and the world responds, reflecting back the possibilities your mind now embraces. By the end of this chapter, you should feel a sense of awakening, a recognition that the voice inside you is not random or uncontrollable. It is powerful, dynamic, and deeply influential. You have the ability to choose its tone, shape its words, and direct its energy toward your highest potential. And as you cultivate this awareness, you take a monumental step toward mastery over your life. As we move forward into the next chapter, we will explore how thoughts themselves, not just words, shape the very structure of your reality. We'll look at the fascinating science of the mind, the way repeated focus transforms your brain, and how the invisible energy of thought can manifest extraordinary change. The voice within is the first key, but the next step is learning how to harness the power of every thought to align with the life you desire. So hold on to the awareness you have gained. Treasure the voice you are discovering. Let it guide you with care and intention, and prepare to take the next step, where the mind itself becomes a force for profound transformation, because the journey is only just beginning, and the best is yet to come. Chapter 3. The Science of Thought and Reality. Close your eyes for a moment and picture the world as you experience it every day. The streets you walk, the people you encounter, the challenges you face, the opportunities you see. Now imagine that all of it, every nuance, every detail, every success and failure, originates from something invisible, something you hold in your mind. Your thoughts are not just ideas floating in your consciousness. They are forces, powerful, tangible, and undeniable forces that shape the reality you live in. Science has begun to uncover what ancient wisdom has always known. The mind is not a passive observer of reality. It is an active creator. Every thought sends signals, not only through your body, affecting your emotions and physical state, but also outward, influencing the way you perceive and interact with the world. Neuroscience tells us that repeated thoughts create neural pathways, wiring your brain to think, feel, and act in certain ways. In other words, your mental patterns are literally sculpting the architecture of your life. Consider the phenomenon of neuroplasticity. Your brain is not fixed, it is not rigid. It is malleable, flexible, and responsive. Every time you think, every time you focus, every time you visualize a possibility, your neurons form connections. They create bridges that strengthen what you dwell on and prune away what you ignore. If your mind is filled with worry, fear, or doubt, those pathways grow stronger. If your mind is filled with possibility, hope, and action-oriented focus, those pathways flourish. In essence, your mind molds your brain to reflect the life you are living and the life you are aiming to create. Let me tell you about a woman named Clara. For years, she lived in the shadow of self-doubt. She avoided opportunities, second-guessed every choice, and allowed fear to dictate her life. Her brain, constantly rehearsing the patterns of limitation, responded accordingly. Every attempt to break free felt exhausting, futile, impossible. Then she began to intentionally focus on thoughts of possibility. Every day she visualized achieving her goals, rehearsed success in her mind, and cultivated gratitude for progress she could see. Slowly but surely, Her neural pathways shifted. Her confidence grew, her focus sharpened, and the opportunities she had long thought unattainable began to appear. Her world didn't magically change, it changed because she had changed the map in her mind. This is why thoughts are not mere reflections, they are generators of reality. Every thought is energy, and energy shapes experience. When you think in a certain way consistently, your perception of the world shifts to align with it. You notice opportunities you might otherwise overlook. You attract people and circumstances that resonate with your mental focus. You begin to live in harmony with the frequency of your own thinking. But here's the catch. Most of us let our thoughts run on autopilot. We repeat old patterns, allow worry to dominate, indulge in comparison, and reinforce beliefs that no longer serve us or never did. And yet the same mind that has held us back can also propel us forward. It is never too late to take conscious control of your thoughts, to choose them, guide them, and amplify the ones that build the life you desire. Let's explore the connection between thought and emotion. Thought without feeling is a whisper. Feeling without thought is aimless. But when the two align, when your thoughts are infused with emotion, the energy they generate becomes magnetic. Your body responds, your perception sharpens, and your actions become intentional. Think about the times you were passionate about something so passionate that your mind, body, and heart moved in unison. You probably noticed doors opening that seemed impossible, connections forming effortlessly, obstacles dissolving. That is the power of aligned thought and emotion, a creative force that transforms invisible intention into visible reality. Science also confirms that visualization is more than fantasy. The brain cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experiences. Athletes, artists, innovators, and leaders use this principle daily. They mentally rehearse success, and in doing so, they prime their brain to recognize opportunity, act decisively, and persist when challenges arise. When you imagine achieving your goals in detail, you are programming your neural pathways to notice the possibilities that support that vision. Your subconscious mind begins to orchestrate actions that align with what you have seen, felt, and believed in your imagination. Here is a practical truth. Your thoughts are the architects of your destiny. Every worry, doubt, or fear builds a structure of limitation. Every vision, affirmation, or intentional focus constructs a foundation for growth. The life you experience tomorrow is the cumulative result of the thoughts you invest in today. And this is the power and the responsibility you carry. But responsibility does not mean burden. It means freedom. Freedom to create, to design, to choose, to consciously direct the flow of your mind, and in doing so, shape the reality around you. Every moment is an opportunity to practice, to focus, and to cultivate thoughts that align with your highest potential. Every day is a chance to decide which mental seeds to nurture and which to let wither. Let's return to Clara for a moment. Her transformation did not happen overnight. It was deliberate, steady, and consistent. She did not try to control the world. She controlled her mind. She repeated positive thoughts. She practiced visualization. She aligned her emotions with possibility. And over time, the invisible became visible. The neural pathways she built guided her decisions, shaped her habits, and ultimately created a life that once existed only in her imagination. This is the truth. Your brain and your mind are allies in creation. The clearer your focus, the more deliberate your thought, the stronger your influence over reality. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a conscious participant in your own life. The laws of thought are constant, predictable, and accessible to anyone willing to observe and act upon them. By the end of this chapter, you should feel a sense of wonder, coupled with responsibility. The mind is a laboratory, a studio, and a field of infinite possibility. Every thought is an experiment, a brushstroke, and the choices you make, starting today, will define the trajectory of your life in ways you cannot yet fully imagine. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore the hidden forces that often block this creative power. Fear, doubt, and distraction. We'll uncover the obstacles that silently shape your thoughts and how to confront them so your mind can function as the true architect of your life. You have seen now that thought creates reality. The next step is learning to protect and focus that thought so the life you design in your mind can flourish without interference. Hold on to this awareness, treasure, because the journey is accelerating, and the next chapter will reveal how to navigate the challenges that seek to derail the power of your mind. Chapter 4: The Enemy of Transformation. Have you ever felt like you were reaching for something just out of reach, as if the universe itself were conspiring against your dreams? You're not imagining it. There is an invisible force at work in every life, subtle yet relentless, quietly shaping what we achieve and what we surrender to. These are the enemies of transformation: fear, doubt, comfort, distraction, and resistance. They are silent, patient, and cunning. They do not announce themselves. They do not demand attention. And yet, if left unchecked, they can quietly steal the life you are capable of creating. Transformation is not a gentle journey. It requires courage, persistence, and clarity. And the first step in mastering it is recognizing these enemies. They lurk in the corners of your mind, disguised as excuses, procrastination, or even concern. They whisper, "Not now, you're not ready, it's too hard, better safe than sorry." And each whisper, if listened to, becomes a chain, holding you in place while the life you long for slips through your fingers. Let's take fear, the most obvious of these enemies. Fear is a shadow that looms large, shaping perception and narrowing possibility. It tells you that failure is final, that rejection is permanent, that the unknown is dangerous. Fear is a liar, and yet it is also a teacher. It warns, yes, but it also signals where growth awaits. Transformation requires stepping into the shadow of fear, acknowledging it, and moving forward anyway. Every act of courage begins with a tremor, a hesitation, a choice to face the discomfort rather than flee from it. Doubt is subtler, but just as destructive. It creeps into your mind in quiet moments, planting seeds of "what if I'm not good enough," or "maybe I don't have what it takes." Doubt is like fog over a landscape. You can still see, but your vision is distorted, your path unclear. The antidote is clarity, reminding yourself of what is true, of your past victories, your skills, and your capacity to learn and adapt. Doubt dissolves when confronted with deliberate, focused thought. It cannot survive scrutiny. Comfort is another enemy, often overlooked because it feels safe, familiar, even desirable. Comfort persuades you to settle for less, to avoid risk, to remain in what is known. It tells you that survival is enough, that striving is optional, that growth is inconvenient. The transformation never comes from staying within the boundaries of comfort. Every breakthrough requires leaving familiar ground and venturing into uncertainty. Comfort is a silent captor, lulling you into mediocrity while whispering that all is well. Distraction is the enemy that hides in plain sight. Modern life bombards you with noise, notifications, and endless stimulation. Each distraction steals focus, fragments energy, and erodes momentum. Transformation is impossible without attention. You cannot build a life when your mind is scattered, your presence divided. The disciplined mind, however, learns to notice distractions without surrendering to them. It focuses, prioritizes, and channels energy toward what matters most. Distraction cannot be eliminated entirely, but it can be tamed. And finally, resistance, the most personal and persistent enemy. Resistance arises from within. It manifests as procrastination, self-sabotage, indecision, and internal conflict. Resistance is your mind's way of clinging to old patterns, old identities, and old beliefs. It whispers, "I've always been this way," or "This is who I am." Transformation requires a confrontation with resistance. It demands self-honesty, discipline, and the courage to rewrite the story you tell yourself every day. Let me share a story. There was a man named Daniel, a talented artist, with dreams of creating work that would touch hearts and inspire minds. But every day, he faced these enemies. Fear told him he would fail. Doubt whispered that his talent wasn't enough. Comfort urged him to keep his art hidden, safe, and unchallenged. Distraction pulled him toward meaningless tasks. Resistance convinced him that change was impossible. For years, he remained stuck, his potential untapped. One day, Daniel decided to name these enemies, to see them for what they truly were. With deliberate focus, he began to act in spite of fear, to create despite doubt, to step beyond comfort, to resist distraction, and to confront resistance. Slowly, the world he imagined began to take shape. His enemies did not vanish, but their power over him diminished, and he discovered the freedom to transform his life. What Daniel realized, and what you must also understand, is that these enemies are inevitable. They will appear in every life. They are not punishments, nor are they signs that you are failing. They are indicators that growth is occurring, that transformation is possible, and that courage is required. Your task is not to eliminate them, but to recognize, navigate, and rise above them. Transformation is not a sprint. It is a series of deliberate choices made over time. Every time you acknowledge fear and act anyway, every time you confront doubt with evidence of your capability, every time you step beyond comfort, focus through distraction, and overcome resistance, you strengthen the muscles of your mind. You create momentum. You build resilience. You construct a life that reflects your highest vision. By the end of this chapter, you should feel both awareness and empowerment. Awareness, because you can now identify the enemies that have silently limited your life. Empowerment, because understanding them is the first step in mastering them. You now know that transformation is a choice, a daily practice, and a conscious decision to act in alignment with your highest potential. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore the habit of positive thinking, how deliberate, consistent thought patterns create unstoppable momentum toward the life you desire. The enemies are real, but they can be tamed, and the next chapter will give you the tools to cultivate a mind that naturally favors growth, abundance, and possibility. Hold on to this insight. Your enemies are not your defeat. They are your invitation, an invitation to see yourself clearly, to confront your limitations, and to rise into the life that has always been waiting for you. The next step awaits, and it is a step into conscious creation, into thought shaped by intention, and into a life that reflects the strength of your mind. Chapter 5: The Habit of Positive Thinking. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, and the first thoughts that enter your mind fill you with possibility, courage, and clarity. Imagine starting every day with a sense of focus so strong, so intentional, that the world seems to align with your desires. This is not a fantasy. This is the power of positive thinking, and when cultivated as a habit, it becomes the engine of transformation. Positive thinking is more than smiling through challenges or repeating empty affirmations. It is a deliberate, conscious practice of directing your mind towards solutions, opportunities, and growth. It is the act of noticing the good in every situation amplifying hope and focusing on what you can create rather than what you fear. It does not ignore reality. It shapes reality by shaping the lens through which you perceive it. Consider the story of Samuel, a man who faced relentless setbacks. Opportunities slipped through his fingers, relationships faltered, and his confidence wavered. Every failure whispered, "You're not enough." But Samuel made a conscious choice. He began to focus not on what had gone wrong, but on what could go right. He listed small victories each day. He visualized solutions rather than problems, and he reinforced beliefs that supported progress. Over time, the shift was undeniable. Doors opened, people responded differently to him. Opportunities emerged where there had been none. The habit of positive thinking had rewired not just his mind, but his life. The first step in creating this habit is awareness. Notice the stories you tell yourself. Are they filled with doubt, criticism, and fear? Or are they oriented toward possibility, resilience, and growth? The moment you become aware of a negative thought, you gain the power to interrupt it, redirect it, and replace it with a constructive alternative. This is the essence of positive thinking as a habit. It requires vigilance, consistency, and conscious choice. Positive thinking also involves the deliberate use of language. Words are not passive. They carry energy and influence perception. Saying, "I can learn from this," shifts your mindset differently than "I always fail." Reframing your internal dialogue is the act of planting seeds of possibility in the fertile soil of your mind. Each time you do this, you are training your brain to notice opportunities, to persist through challenges, and to embrace growth rather than resist it. Emotion is the amplifier of positive thought. A thought alone has influence, but when paired with emotion, it becomes magnetic. Imagine not just thinking, "I am capable," but feeling it deeply, feeling the confidence in your body, the energy in your mind, the determination in your heart. This alignment of thought and feeling creates momentum, and momentum transforms intention into reality. Positive thinking is not passive optimism, it is active creation. It is also important to understand that positive thinking is not about ignoring challenges. Life will continue to present obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But when positive thinking is habitual, your response changes. Challenges become opportunities for growth, mistakes become lessons, and fear becomes a signal to act rather than a reason to retreat. It is the practice of consistently choosing a constructive perspective over a destructive one. Here is a practical method to cultivate this habit. Begin each day with deliberate reflection. Identify one negative thought pattern you tend to repeat. Replace it with a constructive alternative and anchor it with visualization. For example, if your mind says, "I'm not ready for this opportunity," reframe it to, "I am learning and growing every day, and I am capable of handling this challenge." Visualize yourself taking the steps successfully, feeling the accomplishment, and integrating that success into your identity. Repeat this process consistently, and over time, your mind will begin to default to positive, constructive thinking. Gratitude is an essential companion to positive thinking. Gratitude directs attention to abundance rather than scarcity, to growth rather than limitation. When you actively acknowledge the good in your life, you reinforce a mindset that notices possibilities rather than problems. Even in the smallest moments, gratitude strengthens the neural pathways that support optimism, resilience, and creative action. Another aspect of positive thinking is surrounding yourself with influences that support it. The people, media, and environment you engage with shape your mental patterns. Seek out those who inspire, challenge, and elevate you. Reduce exposure to negativity that reinforces limiting beliefs or feeds doubt. Positive thinking thrives in environments where possibility is nurtured and reinforced. By the end of this chapter, you should feel a sense of empowerment. You now understand that your thoughts are not passive, They are creative forces. The habit of positive thinking is a skill you can cultivate, a practice that strengthens your mind, and a mindset that shapes your reality. When you choose your thoughts consciously, align them with emotion, reinforce them with gratitude, and nurture them in a supportive environment, you build momentum that propels your life forward. As we transition into the next chapter, we will explore the extraordinary power of visualization and imagination, how envisioning your goals with clarity, detail, and emotion can accelerate transformation and manifest tangible results. Positive thinking is the foundation. Visualization is the blueprint. Together, they create the architecture of the life you desire. Hold this insight close. Your mind is not a passive observer of your life, it is the sculptor. The thoughts you cultivate today will carve the experiences you live tomorrow. And as you form the habit of positive thinking, you are laying the groundwork for extraordinary transformation. Chapter 6: Visualization and the Power of Imagination. Close your eyes and picture a blank canvas. Nothing on it yet, just possibilities stretched wide and endless. Now imagine that every thought you hold in your mind is a brushstroke, every feeling an infusion of color, and every belief a guiding hand shaping the final masterpiece. This is the extraordinary power of visualization, the ability to create with your imagination before you ever touch reality. It is not fantasy, it is a profound force that can transform your life if wielded with intention. Your mind does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is experienced in the physical world. When you see a goal clearly, feel it with emotion, and immerse yourself in its details, your subconscious mind begins to work tirelessly to make it real. This is why visionaries, athletes, innovators, and leaders all harness the power of imagination. They do not wait for opportunity to appear, they create it in the laboratory of the mind first, and the world follows. Consider the story of Maya, a young entrepreneur with a dream of launching a business that would not just succeed, but inspire and serve her community. For months, she struggled, unsure how to begin. Then she began a practice of deliberate visualization. Every morning she imagined her ideal day, meeting clients, presenting ideas, experiencing success, and feeling the pride of accomplishment. She visualized not only the outcome but the steps, the challenges, and the small victories along the way. Within weeks, her clarity transformed indecision into action. Opportunities she had never anticipated began to surface. Doors opened. People responded. The invisible became tangible because her mind had rehearsed reality with unwavering precision. Visualization is not idle dreaming. It is a disciplined exercise, combining detail, emotion, and repetition. The clearer you see your goal, the more vividly you immerse yourself in the experience, the stronger the signal you send to your subconscious. Your mind begins to align your actions, perception, and energy toward making that vision real. Every choice, every step, every moment becomes attuned to the image you have created internally. Emotion is the fuel of imagination. A thought alone can inspire, but when it is felt deeply, it becomes magnetic. Imagine not just thinking, "I will succeed," but feeling the excitement, the relief, the joy, and the pride as if it has already happened. This emotional resonance embeds the experience into your neural pathway. It programs your brain, shapes your decisions, and motivates your actions with unparalleled intensity. Visualization paired with emotion creates momentum that cannot be ignored. The power of imagination also lies in its ability to reveal what is possible beyond current limitation. Your mind can explore solutions, innovate strategies, and anticipate obstacles before they appear. Many of the world's greatest discoveries and achievements began in imagination long before they became reality. By rehearsing success internally, you train yourself to recognize opportunities externally, to navigate challenges confidently, and to act with intention rather than hesitation. Here's a practical method to harness this power. Begin with a single goal, something meaningful and specific. Close your eyes and immerse yourself in the experience of achieving it. See it in detail, the environment, the people, the objects, the sounds. Feel the emotions associated with success, the pride, joy, relief, and excitement. Replay this visualization daily, with as much clarity and consistency as possible. Over time, your subconscious mind absorbs these impressions, aligning your thoughts, habits, and actions with the vision you have created. Visualization also strengthens resilience. When challenges arise, your mind recalls the rehearsed image of success, reminding you that obstacles are temporary and surmountable. The practice shifts your focus from fear to solution, from limitation to possibility. In effect, your imagination becomes a rehearsal space for courage, creativity, and persistence. It is crucial to combine visualization with action. The mind can create possibilities, but only deliberate, consistent effort converts them into reality. Imagination is the blueprint, your actions are the construction. When visualization is paired with focused effort, it becomes unstoppable. It clarifies direction, motivates persistence, and cultivates confidence that nothing can undermine. Let me tell you about Alex, a musician who dreamed of performing on the world's largest stages. For years, he felt small, unnoticed, and uncertain. He began visualizing each concert, imagining the lights, the crowd, the music flowing effortlessly, and the energy he would feel on stage. Every day he immersed himself in this mental rehearsal. Over time, his practice improved, his confidence grew, and his presence became magnetic. Opportunities emerged, auditions led to performances, and eventually, his imagined reality manifested. Visualization did not replace effort, but it directed it, shaping both belief and action into one unstoppable force. By the end of this chapter, you should feel a profound sense of possibility. Your imagination is not a luxury. It is a tool, a compass, and a launchpad for transformation. The life you envision with clarity, passion, and emotional resonance has the power to manifest. You are capable of designing your reality before it unfolds. Your mind can rehearse success, anticipate challenges, and guide your actions with precision and confidence. As we transition into the next chapter, we will explore the art of self-discipline, the bridge between vision and reality. Visualization shows the path, but discipline ensures that you walk it. It is the daily practice, the habits, and the focused energy that transform imagined possibilities into lived experiences. The next chapter will provide the tools to harness your mind, your energy, and your willpower to bring your vision fully into the world. Remember this: imagination is the seed, and action is the soil. When nurtured consistently, the life you visualize begins to grow, step by step, into reality. Hold this power, cherish it, and prepare to take the next step. Transformation is no longer just a possibility, it is within your reach. Chapter 7. Self-discipline, the bridge to reality. Close your eyes and picture a river. On one side lies the life you imagine, rich with purpose, achievement, and joy. On the other side lies the world as it is now, filled with routine, distraction, and limitation. The river between them is wide, turbulent, and intimidating. Across this river, dreams remain out of reach until you build the bridge of self-discipline. Without it, visualization, positive thinking, and intention remain just ideas, beautiful, inspiring, but unrealized. Self-discipline is the bridge that transforms imagination into reality. Self-discipline is not about restriction, guilt, or harshness. It is the practice of aligning your actions with your highest goals, of choosing what matters most over what feels easiest in the moment. It is the muscle that allows you to persist when motivation fades, to act when fear whispers, and to create when comfort tempts you to remain still. Without self-discipline, potential stays dormant, and life continues to drift according to circumstance rather than conscious choice. Let me tell you the story of Elena, a writer who dreamed of publishing a novel that would touch lives. Each day, she felt inspiration, ideas, and bursts of creativity, but her life was full of distractions. She often told herself, "I'll write tomorrow," or "I need the perfect moment." Months passed, then years. Then she made a simple, deliberate decision to write one page every day, no matter the mood, no matter the circumstance. She committed to discipline, not perfection. The result was transformative. Within a year, she had completed a manuscript that once seemed impossible. Discipline bridged the gap between her imagination and her reality. Self-discipline is built in small, consistent actions. It is the daily choices that accumulate into monumental results. Waking up early to work toward your goals, prioritizing tasks that align with your vision, saying no to short-term distractions that pull you off course. Every deliberate action reinforces the bridge. Every lapse weakens it. The key is consistency over intensity. Discipline grows strongest, not in grand gestures, but in the repeated commitment to do what must be done, even when it is uncomfortable. One of the greatest misconceptions about self-discipline is that it requires endless willpower. The truth is, discipline is less about forcing yourself in the moment and more about structuring your environment, habits, and routines so that the right choices become natural. Automate your good behaviors. Remove friction that leads to distraction or procrastination. Make it easier to act in alignment with your goals than to drift aimlessly. In this way, self-discipline becomes less of a struggle and more of a natural guiding force. Another essential element is self-accountability. Discipline flourishes when you take responsibility for your actions and outcomes. It is the quiet acknowledgement that success is not granted by chance, luck, or external forces. It is earned through consistent, deliberate effort. When you accept that every choice shapes your reality, you begin to approach life with a level of focus and intention that transforms obstacles into opportunities. Self-discipline also requires patience. The bridge does not appear overnight. Every effort may feel small, and every day may test your resolve. Yet, just as the river eventually responds to consistent flow, life responds to sustained action. The daily practice of discipline, repeated without fail, builds momentum, confidence, and skill. With each step, the bridge grows stronger, and the distance between your present reality and desired life becomes smaller and more traversable. Consider Michael, an athlete training for a marathon. Motivation alone would never have carried him through early mornings, fatigue, and discomfort. It was discipline, the daily runs, the proper diet, the commitment to rest and recovery that allowed him to cross the finish line. Motivation is fleeting, emotion fluctuates, but discipline persists. It bridges the gap between intention and achievement, between imagination and manifestation. A practical method to cultivate discipline is to anchor your day with non-negotiable actions, tasks you commit to completing no matter what. Start small, perhaps a 10-minute focused practice, a single step toward a larger goal. Build gradually, then layer habits upon habits, reinforcing your commitment with tangible progress. Celebrate consistency, not perfection. Each completed action strengthens your bridge and conditions your mind to prioritize what truly matters. Self-discipline is also inseparable from purpose. The more clarity you have about your vision, the easier it is to commit, persist, and act in alignment. When your actions are connected to a meaningful goal, discipline transforms from obligation into empowered choice. You are no longer forcing yourself, You are choosing to honor your own potential. By the end of this chapter, you should feel a renewed sense of control and agency. You now understand that dreams alone are insufficient. Action, sustained and deliberate, is required. The bridge of self-discipline connects your mind to your reality, turning imagination into tangible achievement. Without it, even the clearest vision remains a distant fantasy. With it, anything is possible. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore the power of resilience, the ability to maintain momentum and faith in the face of setbacks, failures, and challenges. Discipline builds the bridge, but resilience ensures you can cross it, even when the current grows strong and the journey feels long. The next chapter will provide the strategies to strengthen your mind, recover from setbacks, and continue forward no matter what life throws in your path. Remember this: self-discipline is not punishment, it is liberation. It is the bridge that carries you from dreaming to doing, from wishing to becoming. With every deliberate choice, every small victory, you construct the pathway to the life you have imagined. The bridge is yours to build. Step forward and let your journey continue. Chapter 8. Resilience. The power to persist. Picture yourself standing in the eye of a storm. Wind lashes at your face, rain blinds your vision, and the ground beneath you trembles. Everything inside you cries to retreat, to surrender, to step back and seek comfort. But deep within, there is a quiet voice, steady and unwavering, that whispers, "Keep going." This is resilience, the power to persist, the inner strength that allows you to move forward when every force around you pushes to stop. Resilience is not a trait reserved for the lucky or the naturally strong. It is a skill, a practice, and a mindset that can be cultivated by anyone willing to face adversity, embrace discomfort, and rise repeatedly after every fall. It is the bridge between your dreams and your reality, the force that sustains action when motivation fades, and the compass that keeps you moving when uncertainty clouds the path. Consider the story of David, a young professional who faced repeated rejection. Every project he pitched, every proposal he submitted, was met with "not yet" or "try again." At first, he felt defeated, certain that failure defined him, but he made a conscious choice. He began to see rejection not as a verdict on his worth, but as feedback, a signal that refinement, patience, and persistence were required. With each setback, he learned, adjusted, and moved forward. Over time, doors opened, opportunities multiplied, and his career flourished. His resilience transformed obstacles into stepping stones, fear into fuel, and doubt into determination. Resilience begins with perspective. Life will challenge you. This is inevitable. But how you interpret those challenges determines whether they will break you or strengthen you. Every setback is temporary. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn. Every moment of pain carries within it a seed of growth. By choosing to view adversity as a teacher rather than an enemy, you cultivate a mindset that is unshakable, even in the face of life's fiercest storms. Another cornerstone of resilience is emotional regulation. When life tests you, it is natural to feel fear, anger, or despair, but resilient individuals recognize that emotions are signals, not instructions. They acknowledge their feelings, process them, and then act with clarity and purpose. By mastering your emotional responses, you prevent temporary turmoil from dictating permanent decisions. You respond to life rather than reacting impulsively, and you maintain momentum toward your goals. Resilience is also strengthened by small, deliberate actions taken consistently over time. Just as a muscle grows stronger with repeated exercise, your capacity to endure, adapt, and overcome increases with practice. Start with daily commitments to persevere in the face of minor challenges. Follow through with tasks that test your patience, determination, and focus. With each small victory, your confidence in your ability to navigate life's bigger challenges grows. Let's take the example of Maria, a student preparing for a grueling exam that would determine her future. She faced moments of exhaustion, distraction, and doubt, but she structured her study in focused, consistent sessions, allowing herself brief periods of rest, but never abandoning her commitment. When anxiety threatened, she reminded herself of her purpose, the hours she had invested, and the possibility of success. On exam day, she was prepared, not just in knowledge, but in mental resilience. The power to persist had carried her across the finish line. Community and support also play a vital role in resilience. No one endures life's storms entirely alone. Surrounding yourself with people who uplift, challenge, and encourage you strengthens your capacity to persist. Shared wisdom, guidance, and empathy act as anchors, helping you navigate moments when your own resolve falters. Seek those who reflect strength, offer perspective, and remind you of your potential when you cannot see it for yourself. Resilience is inseparable from self-belief. To persist, you must hold the conviction that your efforts are meaningful and that your goals are attainable. Doubt will arise, obstacles will challenge, and progress may appear slow, but the resilient mind persists because it trusts in the process, values growth, and recognizes that setbacks are temporary, not defining. Practical strategies to cultivate resilience include reflecting daily on challenges faced, identifying lessons learned, and planning deliberate responses for the future. Journaling, meditation, and visualization of successful outcomes can strengthen your mental and emotional endurance. When setbacks occur, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I respond constructively? What steps will bring me closer to my goal? By focusing on solutions rather than problems, you transform resistance into momentum. By the end of this chapter, you should feel empowered with the understanding that resilience is not about avoiding difficulty, it is about facing it with courage, clarity, and consistency. It is the engine that sustains your journey across the bridge of self-discipline, carrying the vision created by your imagination into tangible reality. Resilience ensures that no obstacle, no failure, no setback can permanently halt your progress. As we transition into the next chapter, we will explore the extraordinary impact of focused action, the art of moving deliberately, strategically, and consistently toward your goals. Resilience keeps you standing, focused action moves you forward with power and precision. The next chapter will provide the tools to harness your energy, eliminate distractions, and create unstoppable momentum. Remember this: storms will come, currents will resist, and the path will be challenging. But resilience is the steady, unwavering force that allows you to keep moving, to rise after every fall, and to continue shaping the life you envision. Hold on to it, strengthen it, and prepare to step into action with purpose and clarity. Chapter 9. Focused Action, Turning Vision into Momentum. Imagine standing at the foot of a mountain. The peak towers above, majestic, almost impossibly high, and the path ahead twists, steep and treacherous. You have the vision, the summit of your dreams, clearly in sight, but without focused action, the mountain remains unconquered. Vision alone inspires, imagination alone excites, and resilience alone sustains. But only focused action transforms all of this into momentum, into measurable progress, into reality. Focused action is not scattered effort. It is deliberate, purposeful, and relentless. It is the practice of channeling energy into tasks that align directly with your goals, avoiding distractions, and refusing to be pulled off course by fleeting impulses or external noise. Think of it as a laser cutting through obstacles. While general effort spreads energy thin, focused action concentrates your power where it matters most, multiplying its effect exponentially. Consider the story of Jordan, a young inventor who dreamed of creating a revolutionary product. He spent months brainstorming, researching, and imagining, but nothing moved forward. Then he adopted a practice of focused action, one concrete step every day toward the prototype, no matter how small. He eliminated distractions, structured his time, and measured progress in meaningful units. Slowly, consistently, the prototype began to take shape. Momentum built. Within a year, what had once been a distant idea became a tangible reality. Jordan's breakthrough was the result of deliberate, focused action, repeated and refined day after day. The power of focus lies in its ability to amplify results. When your actions are aligned, your efforts compound. Each step builds upon the last. Every completed task creates confidence, clarity, and energy for the next. In contrast, scattered or half-hearted effort dissipates energy, fosters frustration, and creates the illusion of progress without results. Focus transforms busy work into productive work. It transforms good intentions into measurable achievement. Focused action also requires clarity. You cannot aim effectively if your target is vague. Begin by identifying the most impactful steps, the actions that bring you closest to your goal. Prioritize ruthlessly. Ask yourself, which tasks, if completed today, will move me meaningfully forward? Then eliminate or delegate the rest. Momentum is born from alignment, knowing where to direct your energy, and then committing to it fully. Discipline and resilience, which we explored in earlier chapters, are the allies of focused action. Discipline ensures that your attention remains on the right tasks, even when motivation fades. Resilience allows you to persist when challenges arise, failures occur, or progress seems slow. But without action, both remain dormant. Focused action is the bridge between thinking and doing, between planning and achieving, between dreaming and living. Let me give you a practical framework. Begin each day with intention. Write down the 3 most important actions that will move you toward your goal. Commit to completing these, no matter what. Avoid distractions during this time. Turn off notifications, silence interruptions, and immerse yourself fully in each task. Time spent focused yields far more results than hours of fragmented effort. Review at the end of the day what was accomplished, what was learned, and what will guide tomorrow's actions. In this way, focused action becomes a cycle of clarity, execution, and improvement. Energy management is also crucial. Focused action demands not only mental clarity, but physical and emotional vitality. Nourish yourself, rest when needed, and honor your body and mind as instruments of your goal. When energy is aligned, attention sharpens, decisions improve, and momentum becomes unstoppable. Consider Emma, a writer pursuing her first novel. Her vision was vivid, her resilience strong, and her discipline consistent, but progress remained slow because her attention was divided across multiple projects. When she committed to focused action, dedicating 2 uninterrupted hours each day exclusively to writing, her productivity surged. Chapters emerged, her confidence grew, and the project accelerated from idea to completion. Focus did not create inspiration, it channeled it into tangible results. Focused action also demands adaptability. Plans may need revision, obstacles may appear, and priorities may shift. True focus is not rigidity, it is a dynamic concentration on what matters most in the present moment, with the flexibility to adjust strategies without losing sight of the ultimate goal. Momentum is maintained, not by blindly following a plan, but by continually directing energy toward meaningful progress, even when circumstances change. By the end of this chapter, you should feel the urgency and possibility that come with concentrated effort. You now understand that visualization, discipline, and resilience are essential, but without focused action, they remain potential energy, not kinetic. The life you imagine, the dreams you rehearse, and the strength you cultivate will manifest only when you act deliberately, consistently, and strategically. As we prepare to move into the final chapter, we will explore the culmination of all these principles: sustained growth, fulfillment, and transformation. The final chapter will provide a powerful integration of vision, discipline, resilience, and focused action, guiding you to not just achieve your goals, but to embody the person you were meant to become. Remember this: vision without action is illusion. Imagination without execution is wasted energy. Resilience without direction is struggle. Focused action is the engine that propels your dreams forward. Take deliberate steps, concentrate your efforts, and watch as momentum transforms possibility into reality. The summit is within reach, but only if you move with purpose. Chapter 10: Integration. Becoming the life you envision. Close your eyes for a moment and picture a river. At first it begins as a trickle, fragile and uncertain, weaving through rocks and earth. With time, persistence, and direction, it gathers strength, carving a path, shaping the land down it, and growing into a force that cannot be stopped. Your life is like that river. Every thought, every belief, every action you have cultivated across these chapters is part of a stream converging into a powerful current. Integration is the final step, the moment when everything aligns, and you become the life you have envisioned. Integration is not an event, it is a process. It is the conscious weaving together of vision, mindset, resilience, and focused action into a seamless whole. It is the act of embodying the principles you have learned, transforming knowledge into living practice. Imagine your thoughts no longer as fleeting sparks, but as steady flames lighting your way. Imagine your actions no longer fragmented or uncertain, but precise, intentional, and unwavering. This is the power of integration. It turns potential into reality. Think of the artist who has spent years learning color, texture, and form. Alone, each brushstroke is meaningful, but incomplete. When skill, imagination, and vision converge on the canvas with deliberate intention, a masterpiece emerges. So too in life, when your beliefs, focus, and effort converge with purpose, your reality transforms into something extraordinary. Integration requires self-awareness. You must recognize the habits, thoughts, and patterns that have served you, and those that have not. Honest reflection is essential. It allows you to let go of old limitations, fears, and distractions. Integration asks you to align with your true values and deepest intentions, to harmonize the inner and outer, the imagined and the enacted. This alignment creates clarity, strength, and momentum that carry you forward with confidence. Consider Alex, a professional navigating a major career change. He had the knowledge, the skills, and the ambition. Yet, without integration, his life felt fragmented. Long hours at work drained him, his health suffered, and his relationships strained. When he committed to integration, he aligned his daily actions with his priority. Exercise became part of his routine, creative projects received regular attention, and meaningful connections were nurtured. Slowly, a sense of balance and fulfillment emerged. His life, once chaotic and disjointed, became a reflection of his vision. Integration also involves emotional mastery. Every challenge, every success, every setback is filtered through your emotional lens. By observing your feelings, understanding their origin, and choosing your response, you align your emotional energy with your purpose. Emotional mastery does not mean suppression, it means conscious direction. It means using your inner life as fuel rather than friction. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned, the river of your life flows unimpeded, powerful, and purposeful. Another aspect of integration is the deliberate choice of influence. The people, environments, and information you expose yourself to either strengthen or weaken your current. Surround yourself with those who inspire, challenge, and support you. Create spaces that foster creativity, focus, and growth. Consume content and ideas that elevate your thinking and expand your understanding. Integration is not isolation, it is intentional selection, curating every input to feed your vision rather than distract from it. Integration is strengthened by ritual. Daily practices, however small, compound into profound transformation. Morning reflection, journaling, meditation, goal setting, deliberate action, all become threads woven into the fabric of your day. These rituals are the scaffolding upon which your new life is built. They convert intention into habit, habit into identity, and identity into destiny. Consider Sophia, a musician who dreamed of composing symphonies that moved hearts. She integrated her practice by combining technical training with daily composition, reflection, and performance. Each element alone had value, but together they transformed her from a student of music into a living expression of it. Integration allowed her vision to take form and her art to touch the world. By now you should sense the power that comes from alignment. Every chapter you have journeyed through, the cultivation of thought, the discipline of mind, the resilience in adversity, the clarity of focus, culminates in this principle: life is not something that happens to you. Life is something you co-create. Integration is the moment you step fully into that co-creation, where thought, action, and emotion converge, and the life you imagine becomes the life you live. The practical path to integration begins with reflection, daily, weekly, and monthly. Ask yourself, are my actions aligned with my deepest values? Are my thoughts shaping my reality or fragmenting it? Are my emotions serving my purpose or distracting me? Identify what must change and implement it deliberately. Integration is not passive, it demands presence, attention, and courage. It demands that you commit to the life you envision, moment by moment, choice by choice. As we conclude this journey, understand that the power to transform your life has always resided within you. You have learned that your thoughts shape your reality, that resilience carries you through storms, that focused action propels you forward, and that integration allows all these elements to function as one. The river is flowing, and you are the current. You are the architect of your destiny, the artist of your life, the embodiment of your vision. Take a deep breath and feel it, the alignment, the clarity, the energy within you. This is not the end of your journey, it is the beginning of a new phase, where your vision, your purpose, and your action converge to create something extraordinary. Carry this forward. Live intentionally, act with focus, persist with courage. Align your thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Step fully into the life you were meant to lead. The river is yours to guide. Flow with purpose, flow with clarity, and flow without hesitation. You have become what you think, and now through integration, you become what you choose.